Hello. You may got something very special today because this is looking left. But today I still have a host, but the guest has been changed to the other guys. No long hair, a little bit long. Okay. In terms of okay, the face difference. I still right in terms of the hair color.
Yeah, well, almost the same as yours, by the way.
Yeah, right. So today we're really glad to have a really casual conversation with you. Especially this is almost approaching the dinner time, right? In Hong Kong, especially usually we have a late dinner, but you really kind that you accepted our interview or even a kind of a chat. I don't really make it really formal. Really look like the TV program that present you your proposal, present you about how to cater the interests of the occupational profession that you are going to enter the elections on Sunday, right? So introduce yourself, please. Okay, I hand over to you. Okay.
Oh, just like that. Yeah. Well, I actually just got from the district council meeting in Aberdeen, and I came over quickly. So I'm a district councillor in the Southern District. My name is Paul Zimmerman, and I'm now a candidate for the LegCo elections for the Architectural Surveyor Planning Landscape Functional Constituency. So we got about 7,000 registered voters, and we have to see how many will come out on Sunday.
What do you feel about people who talk about the atmospheres of the election may not be so keen, especially maybe there's a number of things happened in Hong Kong, like maybe 2 or 3 days ago, the termination of bus driver case actually contribute to the people who joined the tensions to the bus driver. They organize themselves that in order to defend the interests of their own colleagues. So maybe people may not care or even take care or even concerned about the elections. Do you worry about it will affect or even it will doing something undesirable for the outcome of the elections?
Well, low turnouts are never good, I think. But I'm not sure that we're going to see low turnout. I expect actually that it will be higher than people think. Yeah. But it's just that this election is so strange because we only have a few candidates running over the entire territory. When normally if you have an election for LegCo, you have so many people running that when you're coming out of an MTR station, somebody has a leaflet. You're coming out of the other MTR station, somebody has a leaflet. Yeah. So wherever you go, so it's flags and banners and leaflets and people everywhere you go in the city. But now you don't see it because there are only so few candidates running. So I think that is what kind of gives people the impression that there is little atmosphere around this election. In the sector that I'm running, it's pretty heated. I mean, there's been a lot of publicity about my home, and it's been really poked up. So within the sector and among the professionals, there's a very lively discussion. So the atmosphere within that 7,000, the group of 7,000, is quite heated up.
But 7,000 is not a small number of voters, and of course, because I'm not the one belonging to that constituency, so I have no ideas of what they perceive the elections. Whether within the so-called small circle, actually they have really keen discussion or even think about who guys would be chosen during the on the election day, something like that. Because you actually, based on the background, you are currently as a district council member, you're really busy at the affairs of business over your own constituency, and you have to spend the extra time, effort, even energy to deal with the elections, campaigning, something like that. Do you find? Of course, I know you have actually contested, the geographical constituency before you got some, the experience of election campaigning. So you will find this round of the election campaigning much more easier for you to get adapting, get everything in the really right track easier, or it's really different because it's a functional constituency. It's totally different.
Well, it's a functional constituency, so the identification of the voters is really whether they work. Whereas when you do the district council, then is where do people take the bus? Where do people take the MTR? You know, like that's you can find that's where or where do people go shopping? That's where you can find them.
You can find them.
Well, because so in a district council election in your district, so in my case, Pok Fulam, there is the shopping arcade where people go and get their groceries. So that's where people are on Saturday. In the morning, they take the bus. Well, you know where the bus stops are, so you can actually meet the people in that sense quite easily. And then the people that don't do these things, you then have to stand on the side of the road and wave. But for the functional constituency is different because you'll have to go to meetings. You have to try to have meetings at their companies that they work.
Right.
And where you don't have meetings, you can go to the buildings where you know that there are a lot of floors where a lot of professionals work. For example, the lens department. There's a lot of surveyors working there. So where the lens department's offices are, you can stand outside at arrival in the morning or during lunchtime, and then you can meet a lot. But still, the amount of depending how big the building is and how many people come out, you're still fishing for the needles in the haystack, But you kind of recognize people and the people that do respond and don't respond, so you can have some communication right there. And then there's social media is quite strong, emailing, sending brochures. So that's kind of like the range of things you have to do. So it's not difficult, it's just a lot of hard work.
Yeah, especially if you contact with the potential voters, still you have to spend some time to identify them first. Otherwise, you cannot approach them and you are not able to engage in any election campaignings or activities. And
I know quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because I've done Designing Hong Kong since 2002, which is an NGO which is all about better urban planning.
Yeah.
And so we have always organized campaigns around the waterfront, changing the harbourfront designs, saving the country parks, or saving some heritage sites, saving the west wing of the government office, or improving the design of the police station. The building that they were planning before was a high building, now it's a smaller building. So all of those activities always include surveyors, architect, planners, landscape architects, green groups, community groups. So you always have communication with them. So when you go and try to look for them and stand outside their buildings, there's always people you recognize and they come over to you, they say hello, or they push you, and that's good.
Right.
So it's active. It's nice.
Because actually, people who are able to identify you, we usually use the term whether you gut and failure with, the voter would be really important, really critical to think about the chance of getting the seats. It's really one of the important parts. But of course, another important observation is about the natures of the voters. Especially for the functional constituency, people regard, given the small number of voters, especially those for some of the occupations, they may be a top manager or mid-level managers. People will regard them a little bit conservative. They are seen to be pro-government, or even sometimes they are intended to defend their own interests without accepting new ideas, without accepting some very challenging ideas. But what about the field? What about the constituency that you are entering for the election?
Well, there's architects.
Yeah.
So architects tend to be the more creative types. Yeah. Landscape architects also tend to be the more creative type. Surveyors, well, you have different types of surveyors, but they tend to be, the kind of people that know how to calculate things and sort things out. They are fairly organized people, and then there are the planners that kind of think about the overall layout of the city, and there you have kind of different type of patterns, whether it's more creative or more the organized types, and so there's a spread, and then you have the young and the old, and then so we really from the previous elections, like the Chief Executive Election Committee, I had about 2,500 votes, and that was really kind of that's a good chunk of people that have democratic tendencies, supporting democracy, and also supporting.
It's not like a mock elections that they try to see how many votes that are expected to get from that.
That's right. I mean, that was a real good indication at that time. But you know, there is, of course, because it's in the professional sector, the concerns of the people are range from, you know, what are we going to do with Hong Kong, and where's Hong Kong going to go? Political issues, of course, it is. How is LegCo working, not working, project moving, money coming, no, not coming. And then there are the more technical things like, you know, there is these new regulations for noise controls or environmental standards for buildings, and that's going to change my job or how we design buildings. So they're kind of on that regulatory side. So there's different interests, different topics that people are interested in.
Yeah. Apart from the sessional issues, especially some people who turn on the TV, they learn about news about LegCo, especially when Brudy Buster is in practice, people criticize. Some people criticize, some people know what's going on, why some Democrat LegCo member actually inside Brudy Buster in the council with their own reason. But of course, for the ordinary people, they will receive this kind of message like the Democrats practicing Brudy Buster actually it will affect the efficiency of this council. And also there is another message that Brudy Buster actually shows the the Democrat force, it seems to be not constructive. Or even there's a discourse saying that the Democrats force cannot doing something really meaningful. They're just only doing something try to undermine the council. I don't know whether over your constituency you may got this kind of remarks or even the views from the voters, and how would you respond to them so that they will find your answer convincing, or even they will have a very different kind of thinking about the current political environment?
You know, on the filibuster comes up a lot when you have conversations, because whatever political background, it actually if projects are not moving, the professionals don't have work. So it affects them directly in their pocket.
Right, it's really controversial. Right.
Yeah, so for them it's you know, it's not like a hypothetical issue. It's like a lot of noise on TV and life goes on. No, it is actually, do I go to work on Monday?
And real impact.
Is there a job on my desk that I can work on? So there is a real concern about that. And two, I mean, in this sector, there's a lot of people that are working on projects that shape the city, you know, like projects that really build environment and so on. And if the money doesn't come, it's not happening. So, and everybody loves to get their projects done instead of like having them not done. So, there's many reasons why the concern is really strong in this sector. You know, I'm a practical person too. I'm not a big fan of filibuster when you know you're going to lose. You know,
especially long hair.
Well, I mean, you know, it is, and of course, I fully understand why it's been happening, but I think that the patience in society is running thin on it, and also I also have an experience when we did the express rail in 2010. I was in LegCo on the first floor, the old building, and we had a meeting room, and we were drafting the questions because we had done our research on the express rail, and we had an alternative proposal. Our proposal was put the express rail in Kam Sheung Road, would have been 1/3 of the cost, and then West Kowloon Cultural District would have had no delay. And you don't have to build a big basement with roads underneath. So you would have saved lots of money on the roads, on the West Kowloon Cultural District, on the express rail.
So
express rail would have been ready. You could have done the connection with the train much easier to the airport and to other areas in Hong Kong. But because of the filibuster, and we had drafted all these questions, government didn't have to give an answer. The only thing they did was, but this is just filibuster. So the public never learned about our alternative proposal very much, because it just disappeared in the noise of the filibuster. So my problem with the filibuster in that sense is that it doesn't help sometimes to get a quality debate. Of course, who is guilty? Of course, the government who doesn't answer the question. But you know, but the tactic may not help us to get better projects done or get things changed in the right way. So I think we'll have to be much more selective and more careful with how we use the filibuster kind of tactics going forward. But it was interesting that with the rule of procedures changing, who was the first one that was trying to do the filibusters? You know, and there was of course the pro-establishment were the first one that were doing some filibustering techniques to push over the debate.
This is to say, yeah, well, as a pro-establishment probation members, I can use it because of the safeguarding of the public interest. But upon Democrats for using filibuster, no, this is only undermine the local economy, that kind of discourse. So I understand the dilemmas in dealing with this kind of controversial issue that directly related to the sector that you are going to enter the elections.
So I've promised them that I will be a moderate voice among the Democrats and try to be practical on some of the things. Because I have one more idea about that. If we can separate a little bit the issue about the better city from the political side, in the end, you know, the people will change, politics will change, but the city will always be here. And I had this conversation with Dennis Kwok as well. How do we safeguard our core values? If we make the city successful, then we have and the city is healthy and strong, we have a better chance to defend our core values. And I kind of like that thinking that let's just run the city as a city, make it great, do some fantastic project, make the city strong and healthy, make sure that people love to come here and that we all enjoy living here, you know, and that will help us to safeguard the core values. If the city slips and the city becomes weak, then it becomes so much easier for the pressure from outside to overwhelm our core values. So that's kind of a thinking behind it that I think we should try to separate a bit.
This is the kind of strategy that you think about how to deal with that controversial issue, especially. You mentioned about the core values. Value is kind of really thinking, or even kind of belief that they believe if the professional is in practice, the professional is actually in doing something that be beneficial to our city, then that core value actually is not something based on just the people talk or just the people mention about as a kind of slogan, but something that they are doing concretely for their everyday life.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, they want to get things done and they want to make the city better, not only on political aspects, but also on the actual livability of the city, and that because that's where their heart is too. That's what their expertise is. They're architects, landscape architects, planners, surveyors. So they want to get involved in that. So I believe that works. I think that it's good. It's good to do that.
Yeah, I should emphasize that actually I make no preparation for today's program. So that's the reason why sometimes I have to think about or articulate some of the questions that I found that it would be really meaningful, really. I'm not really challenging. Don't worry.
No, okay. Please challenge.
Okay, no challenging.
It's more fun.
Okay, but the rest of you a little bit challenging. Okay. So one of the very impressive observations about your election campaign is about that video. That you should actually a video clip about. Can you introduce a little bit more about that video?
Oh, with the paragliding?
Yeah.
So you know, I love the country parks. I love Hong Kong's nature, and to me, it is what makes Hong Kong different from Beijing or Shanghai or from Singapore or from New York or from London. You know, we can just walk out of this building, go across the road, and start walking up the mountain. You know, like, in which city can you do that? You can't. And so whatever we do to our city, that combination of high density with good public transport and our wilderness, we got to make sure that we save that. That is our beautiful strength of Hong Kong. And I love to use the nature, so hiking, paragliding,
is this your idea?
Sailing.
Is this your idea?
Well, I'm a paraglider. And actually, from almost the first day I was in Hong Kong, I was hiking. And within a few months, then new people, when they arrived, people were saying, "Oh, you got to go hiking with Paul." So he became a tour guide very quickly because I love the outdoors. And I'm a pilot. I fly my paraglider. I'm a paraglider pilot, and we were planning all these videos on the different topics, harbor fronts, and one of the topics was country parks. So it was like, okay, we go paraglide, and then we can talk about the country parks. So and that video has gone good. I mean, got a lot of views.
Do you count the number of viewers? Okay.
Well, I mean, you see it on when you open up your Facebook page, it says how many people watch it. So you can see that one, the share rate and the view rate was very high.
Good.
That was cool. But you saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it will be
go to my Facebook page.
Yeah. Okay. So this is really important, especially once you demonstrate something, look like for the election campaign, sometimes it seems to be too serious that you present, how you dealing with controversy over the council, or even how you deal with those controversial issues. It seems to be really serious, really a little bit down in some way. So you try to demonstrate the facade of yours that you look like you love very beautiful scenes, and actually you're actually using a kind of really ways that the people find really attractive, not really something they think about, and also they also understand the importance of the country park
because people love it.
Yeah,
people really take care of the country park. People really care about it because actually you use it. You go there. Everybody goes to to use the country park, and it's for free. Yeah. It's a bottle of water and a bus fare, and you can use it, and it's for everybody. It's an equal right, and it's an equal use. So I think that's why people really want us to respect the country park.
Yeah, especially in the recent years, actually, the government intended to have a construction project over the country parks, and people may not understand why it is working, why the government make this kind of proposal, and also the importance of preserving the country parks. This is not only about the place that we visit when during the holidays, but also this very important access for our Hong Kong.
So this comes up in the elections also, because people talk about land supply. Where do you build, where you not build. And sometimes people think that if you want to save the country park, that you're anti-development. And I have to say, no, we can maybe use some of the country park, but not like you want to do it now, where the government says, oh, here, take this bit, why don't you develop it?
Right.
Actually, what you should say, the country park are our special assets, so we're not going to touch them, unless there is no other alternative, unless it's really, really necessary. And then if we touch it, we try to minimize. And actually, in the past, we did that. When the Route 3 to Yuen Long was built, originally they had plans to go over Dai Lam Country Park. So then there would have been several hundreds of hectares of country park lost. In the end, they did the expensive option of putting the tunnel, and we only lost 2 hectares.
Good.
So you need the road, but you have no alternative, because you have to get to the Yuen Long. You look for how to minimize. Okay, you do a tunnel. So, and in the end, there was also some compensation. They found another 40 hectares to add to the Tai Lam Country Park. So that's a good way of doing it. But just taking a big piece of land and go to the Hong Kong Housing Society and say, here, what do you...
This is a successful experience that you share with us, Stable Grant, Especially, the government would say, well, we should make a decision, or even we should make a choice between development and environment. Usually the government will say development is most important than environment. But the point is, sometimes things can be compromised, things can be arranged that we can actually achieve a win-win situation.
I think we can do it both. If we can do it both.
It's not a really rejective each other.
Not at all. And I had a conversation with the Secretary for Development, because he is a member of the Harbourfront Commission, and I'm there, and we had this meeting, and I mentioned to him and said, we need a conservation bill. And he goes, huh? And then I said, no, listen to me. A conservation bill is good for development. He looks at me, what do you mean? It's good for development, a conservation bill.
You know what it's about.
Exactly. But then I explained to him and said, if you open up the Lin Mahang Road, then in the beautiful area, the old frontier closed area, there was no destruction of nature. But the moment you open up the road, very quickly, all of the areas around it gets destroyed. And when you open up Tung Chung West, then suddenly the whole river valley gets destroyed, because then the road access is there and people start dumping and car parking and everything gets destroyed. So I said we need a conservation bill that if you want to have development close to nature, that you can promise you can protect this, that this cannot be destroyed.
Yeah.
If you can prove that you can protect this, so there is no dumping, there's no illegal car park building, there is no open storage areas being put on the land, you can protect this, then people are going to be more supportive of putting buildings there, right next to it. So I think it's pro-development if you can promise that you can protect that land properly. And then we can have the beauty of the combination of nature and development so close to each other.
Yeah. So, because this is 25 minutes, okay, we actually enjoyed really wonderful, really fruitful conversation with you.
Flying the time.
Yeah, but before the end of today's program, and okay, this is time for you to say a few words to the potential supporter or even voters that how would you encourage them or invite them to cast a vote on Sunday?
Yeah, well, you know, whatever happens to the people and to politics, the city will always be here. So for me, it's very important we get our hands around the shape of the city and make it a great city for people to live and enjoy. And that in the end, if we can do that and make Hong Kong stronger, then we can protect the Hong Kong's core values so much better. And this is what I hope to do in LegCo, and not just defend the interest of the professional, but if the professional wants to get his issues won in society, you're only going to get it won if everybody else agrees with you. So we have to bring people together. So the professionals and the green groups and the developers and government, you got to bring them to the room. Now, on the land supply, we have set up the Citizen Task Force on Land Resources. And, Chu Hoi Dik is a member there. But we also have a developer in there. And we also have a surveyor and an architects and a planners. And we also have a number of green groups. And we have a number of academics. So you have all these people from different sectors. And that, to me, if you can do that on all the difficult topics, then we can make progress. But if you're going to be standing separate, then it's not going to help. So this is what I hope to do in LegCo. So Sunday, vote for me, Paul Zimmerman.
Okay, thank you so much for joining our today's program. Our special guest, ad hoc guest, Paul. Okay, all the best in the election.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think it's time for me to switch to Cantonese. Okay， 多謝各位睇今日呢個咗望啦，司馬文今日專登上嚟咁樣。咁根據呢個選舉規例咧，其實我都要講翻另一個候選人叫謝偉，係咪全啊？全啊！謝偉全係啦，咁樣係啦，另一個即係參與今次即係功能組別嘅候選人。咁我哋今日節目時間去到呢一度，我哋下次再見啦，拜拜。